Hey guys, it's Ross Cotton on the Space Couch. Today we're going to have a look at this. A Night to Remember by Walter Lord, the account of the sinking of the Titanic. And this is the illustrated edition. This Night to Remember first came out in 1956. This edition is from 1976. So there you just see on the back. Got this for 20 pence from the Tesco's bookshelf. That was the only coin I had on me to pay for it. So I'm just going to slip it out of its dust jacket so we can look at it properly. It's a very attractive shade. So on the inside we have this. The Titanic, and who knows how accurate this actually is, but that was what they thought at the time, how the compartments were split open. But obviously that's all buried in the silt now. Let's see. There she is, magnificent ship. View of her from the other side. That famous shoe type of stern. There's a plan. Some more of the plans of the decks. That way, and that is obviously this is really before the age of huge skyscrapers, so that's how tall she was in comparison if you stood her on her end to other famous buildings of the time. So there's Notre Dame, I think that's St. Paul's, that'll be the Washington Monument. These will be skyscrapers in New York that they had at the time. There's the boiler under construction. I think it's the boiler, I'm not certain, it might be something else. And there she is, and I think, is that with the Olympic there as well? I'm not certain if she's in there also. More images of her under construction there. Let's see. I was watching an excellent documentary yesterday about James Cameron and his dives to the Titanic. And the stuff that's been salvaged from it that's on display in Las Vegas, like the big piece and all that sort of thing. That's a touched up photo, but that's what their best guess at the time what it would have looked like as it was leaving, I think, Cherbourg. There is the breaking news about the Titanic sinking. One of them is a lookout, I think, him. And this looks like the telegram that was sent. Or the warnings that it received, rather. There is their image of what it would have looked like when it scraped against the iceberg. Private promenade deck, I think that was Bruce Ismay's. What do we have here? Oh yes, the menu. Where is this? The smoking room. Now, some of these photos, I believe, are actually from the Olympic. I don't know about this one, but some are from the Olympic, because some areas were never actually photographed in time. Let's see, the Café Parisien. Very famous, of course. Captain Smith and Parker McElroy. Obviously, Captain Smith I'm familiar with, not so sure of his role. The Grand Staircase. One of these, although not this one, was salvaged from the wreck, and I saw that in the documentary yesterday, a much smaller one. There's a first class menu. What was it? Consomme tapioca, baked haddock, curried chicken and rice, spring lamb, mint sauce, roast turkey, green peas, puree turnips, boiled rice, boiled and roast potatoes, plum pudding, wine jelly, coconut sandwich, American ice cream, nuts assorted, fruit, fresh fruit, cheese, biscuits, coffee. There is Bruce Ismay. There is one of the lifeboats. being lowered. Oh, obviously not from the sinking. That would have been during testing. There's Thomas Andrews, played by Victor Garber in the James Cameron film. It's one of the staterooms. Again, possibly from the Olympic. Henry Wilde, the chief officer, and there we see the Marconi station, and that will have been one of the messages that was either sent or received. That's from the time, obviously, how wireless messages are sent and received at sea. So you can see Newfoundland here, the British Isles here. That would have been the wireless operator. Special cabin B-59, furnished in Dutch style. God himself could not sink the ship. Well, you don't want to be going around saying things like that. Some of the other apartments, like a bedroom there. The gymnasium. The boat deck. There it is at the dock side. Huge ship. Tiny in comparison to something that was at the Icon of the Seas, I think is the one that's just been launched. The Titanic band, who famously played on, of course. And in the Race to the Titanic book, I'm not sure if it's in the film, they first discover his trumpet or cornet at the bottom of the sea. They just missed the actual wreck itself, and they managed to salvage it. That might be Molly Brown. No, it was Anne Robinson, one of the stewardesses, sorry. The Turkish bath, and that was something I saw on the documentary yesterday. The tiles are still all intact. And when they shone the light on them, it was beautiful colours. Thomas Cotton, Harold Thomas Cotton, the wireless operator of the Carpathia. Some of the newly married couples on board had their photos taken. Obviously, I assume most of the husbands died, and probably many of the wives did as well. And there are the Strausses. They're the ones in the film, you see them, they're on the bed together with the water rushing underneath, I think. Second Officer Lightoller. There's a depiction of what it would have been like, people in their life jackets. There's a bit about the various lifeboats and the davits and all that sort of stuff. One. Like, these are still intact on the bottom. You see them in the various documentaries as well. And there is one of the decks. Notable passengers, it mentions. There's Bruce Ismay again. There's the ship settling into the water by the bow. It wasn't until it was rediscovered in 1985 that they realised it had actually split in half, because some of the passengers said they thought it did and others said they didn't. So it was a massive mystery. But obviously it's in two sections. The bow's mostly intact, although obviously it's starting to collapse from the corrosion, whereas the stern section It all imploded. There is one of the lifeboats. That's just be taken from the Carpathia, I take it, when they were rescuing the passengers. Be British, the last words of the Titanic's captain. I don't remember that in the movie. There he is, looking very much like the king. And there he is. Some passengers said they thought they saw him carrying a baby in the water after the sinking. So that's him there, obviously. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. There are the boilers. And that's how they realised they'd found the Titanic, when they found the boilers, because they're very distinctive. So, and what's this, one of the tiles? From where? It doesn't say. There's thoughts on how it sank. You see there's people falling off here. There it is, with the stern up in the air. Why were there only 20 lifeboats? Because the regs hadn't been updated, apparently. Because the ship was so vast. This is a diagram of who was lost, or per class or something. And the men who survived in the first class were obviously excoriated afterwards. Most famously, of course, Bruce Ismay, whose reputation was totally destroyed. Now, he died and she survived, and there is another image of the ship, or a smaller ship. An advert for Titanic and soap and stuff. And a account of wages. I'm assuming just honouring some of those who passed away. There you see crew there. Depiction of some of the passengers. Is this a ship coming towards them? Oh, it's just another lifeboat. Someone's toy pig. And who is this? That was Molly Brown. Cosmo Duff Gordon and Lady Duff Gordon. I believe he died and she survived, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, who is this lady? The Countess of Roths. Just a look out here. There's another telegram, it looks like. Some more of the passengers. And there is the Carpathia. And the crew of the Carpathia, the heroes. That was the medal that Mrs. Brown gave to the crew of the Carpathia for rescuing them. And there's a depiction of them being picked up by the Carpathia. There's famous photographs, of course, especially this one, of the lifeboats in the early morning light from the Carpathia. There they are, being raised up the side, being rescued. Now, who are these? Crew members of the Carpathia at the inquiry. And there's the Californian. What they think was the actual iceberg that did the damage. And you can't tell it in here, but when they saw the iceberg, it had red paint smeared on it, so very likely it was the one that had actually hit the Titanic. So will be some of the survivors on the Carpathia. was found floating, part of, I don't know if it's the grand staircase or not, found floating in the water. This will be when the news was announced, or maybe at the Board of Inquiry. Oh, yeah, that's when it was announced and the crowds besieged the ticket officers. That is Mrs. Guggenheim. And a very optimistic tale, all saved from Titanic after collision. There they are, raising the boats. There are the boats on the deck of the Carpathia, I assume. Or possibly once they got to, was it New York I think they went to, wasn't it? Yeah, New York. And that would be people looking at the lists of survivors. Don't think that's a photo, is it? No, it's a drawing. So when people were arriving back in England, because they went to New York first, then they came back to England. Message from the King, which will be George V, and also a message from the Queen Mother, Queen Alexandra. I don't know, what is this? Olympic, I can see there. So there might be another advert. Oh yes, this, because the Strausses were the owner of the Macy's store, so obviously it closed in memorial. What's this? Oh, from the Lloyd's Register, in between various other ships sinking. You won't be able to see it from here, but it mentions the loss of the Titanic. This Saturday, 20th of April, so would that have been its return journey from New York, I expect, if it had made it? Yes, that would have been coming back. It was due to leave New York on the 20th of April. And where is this? Crowds at the memorial service outside St. Paul's. And there was a benefit performance for the people of the Titanic who survived, and for the families of those who didn't. Musical, The Wreck of the Titanic. This is a photo. You see the ship on the front page there. Where manhood perished not, because many people were very brave in that circumstance. Not quite sure what this is depicting. Not certain. And that is about it. Oh, this was in there as well. It's Kings and Queens, so I got a free bookmark. And then The Toll of the Sea here. And then it ends with a list of all of the passengers. So yes, a fantastic book. I shall enjoy reading it in depth. I haven't had a proper go through it. I've just paged through it like for this. But yeah, 20p an absolute bargain. I'm pretty sure this, maybe not this version, but A Night to Remember is still in print. And I've seen it here and there over the years. But yes, the Titanic, it still sits in our imaginations. So, oh, there's nothing on there. So there you can just see how it is there. So there you go, guys. A Night to Remember. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for a topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.